no balls fall. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Count with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Good Thursday morning out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. Man, we got all kinds. We got a plethora of different things to talk about today. It's a potentially huge day for Oklahoma football in the portal. One of the big-time positions of need with good players and also good depth. It looks like that decision is going to be made. Dominic Williams, who was a freshman All-American at TCU a couple years ago, looks like it's down to Oklahoma, Texas, LSU, and Mizzou. He's supposed to make his decision today. His handler tweeted out a picture this morning that's got OU Twitter all fired up. You see that picture?
No.
It's looking out like the hotel window or whatever, and it says, "Man, I could get used to this view." And in the corner, on the very corner, there's the ranch sack, like the ranch, the steakhouse.
Okay.
Just positioned, just in it kind of.
What's the view? Like, what's
it's hard to tell. At? It's just kind of out the window, but everybody's fired up because they see the ranch and they're like, "Oh, he's in Oklahoma." That's like, cryptic text, cryptic tweeting by his handler guy. Anyway, it's got everybody fired up.
He knows what he's doing.
Oh, there's no doubt.
He knows exactly what's happening.
This dude is playing the portal game as good as anybody I've seen. It's awesome. Listen, it is fantastic. I love it.
Well, I mean,
it's cool because nobody knows. That's the whole, this is like a throwback.
There's no crystal balls or percentage or
nobody nobody will put one out there because nobody has any idea. Not telling anybody. This is like a cool throwback to back in the day when the hat game and you really didn't know.
Yeah.
Like before the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Like Adrian Peterson, for instance, at the Army All-American game, you really didn't know. Nobody knew who's going to pick, and then it was like, oh, that's cool. Dominic Williams appears to kind of, I guess that's how you say it. Anyway, demonic. Actually, I heard it said demonic, which is a little bit scary.
I hope it's not that.
I think it is actually demonic.
Demonic?
Yep. Anyway, he's supposed to make his decision sometime today, and it literally could happen at any point. He has not scheduled a time necessarily. But, yeah, there's a bunch of people on pins and needles waiting on that decision.
It's going to happen at 1.
Is it? Oh, so that has been posted?
No, I'm just messing with it because that's when we're going to be hooked up.
Say, I have not seen that. It's just like everybody's refreshing Twitter all day long. It'd be cool if you waited till all the way to 11:59.
It's X.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it Twitter forever.
It's X.
We've got a local guy teeing off today in the Byron Nelson, O'Quade Cummins. Did I tell this story about how he qualified?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I wrote it down in case. And then also, college golf regionals were announced yesterday. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State in the same region.
Huh.
For this year's golf tournament. NBA playoffs last night. The Mavs took a 3-2 lead against the Clippers. The ghosts of playoff past reared their ugly head for a whole bunch of those old Clippers. With the way that they performed last night. Celtics, we talked about them kind of coasting yesterday. Guess what? When they don't coast, they're pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Jeez. And then 2 Game 6s in the East tonight. See if some teams can keep their seasons alive. And also, right off the top, high school sports, there's all kinds of it right now, of course, all throughout everywhere. Boys golf regional here in Elk City. There was a 2A regional with a couple of Merritt kids up at Boiling Springs yesterday that I know results of. Slow pitch state tournaments, man, what an exciting yet crushing loss for the Lady Bison last night in the semifinals of Class B. And then baseball. We've got area tournaments and state tournaments today as well. So that's what's on tap for the show. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. That's 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about all of those things or whatever else might be on your mind. Feel free to chime right in at 225-9698. 9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area, a couple ways to stay in touch with the show. Log on to kadsam.com or download the app. The app's got it all. It's got radio. It's got the Penny News. You can go pick up a free copy of the Penny News right now at your favorite local newsstand. Check it out online, thepennynews.com. Of course, Big Elk TV. Today, 1 o'clock and 3:30 are the scheduled game times for the Elks and the Mannford Pirates. Class 4A area. It seems weird to say that in baseball, but anyway, it's what they're calling it. Class 4A baseball area right here at Ackley Park in Elk City. I know there's going to be a packed house tonight, Jared. Today, 1 o'clock. I think you better get there earlier than 1 o'clock if you want to have a seat on the third base side in the bleachers. I have a feeling we're going to see a bunch of people on the first base side more than what we saw last week with the excitement around Elk City baseball. So 1 o'clock, if you can't make it, we've got you on Big Elk TV. 1 o'clock for the first game, 3:30 scheduled time for the second one. And, of course, Skinny on Sports Podcast. If you missed the show entirely, you can go back and check that out anywhere where podcasts are available. How are you today, Jared?
Very good. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm excited for the day. I think it's going to be an awesome day. It looks like we might get maybe some rain before first pitch, but after that, it looks like a gorgeous afternoon is in store for us.
Like how far before? Like how?
Anytime between like now and maybe noon. I've seen a couple of different times. Some at 10, some at 11, maybe even noon. So
that's enough time to dry up.
I would think so, with the turf especially. But once the clouds kind of get out of here, it looks like we're going to have a sunny afternoon. It's going to be a great day to play baseball here in Elk City. Game 1, 1 o'clock. We'll start there with that since we got it going. 1 o'clock for the Elks and the Mannford Pirates. The Elks come in as the 3rd seed across the state of Oklahoma. Mannford would be the 14th seed. A bunch of things in play. A bunch of milestones really are available or possible for the Elks this season. They've never been to 3 straight state tournaments. There's been 5 different times. This is the 5th different time where they've gone back-to-back, but they've never been to 3 straight. They went back-to-back in 62 and 63. They missed 64, went in 65 and 66. Then in 94 and 95, they went back-to-back. In 01 and 02, they went back-to-back. And then obviously the last 2 years heading into a chance to make that the 3rd straight year that they would make the state tournament. 14 in total appearances are on the line. They made 13 so far. And then also the Elks have never played for the title, which obviously means they've never won a baseball state championship. So lots of kind of historic milestone-y type things for the Elks if they're able to win a couple of games here either today or win one tomorrow. I think a lot of the reason why people are so excited about figuring out what time the game starts today, at least game 1 for sure, is it will be the last time you see Cash Mayfield on the mound inside Ackley Park. The guy has just been absolutely incredible. You're going to notice that if you go this afternoon. You're not just going to be there with a bunch of people wearing brown and white or some people wearing gold and purple. There's going to be a ton of these dudes in the middle, right behind the plate. They're going to have these radar guns, and that's because you start looking. I actually saw a little mock draft the other day that had him 27th overall to Philly, which would make that a first-round pick.
Not Philly. Come on.
So that's you're going to notice a bunch of those guys.
Let's get that draft stock up there.
Yeah, 30 or 40
Let's go,
of them.
Cash.
30 or 40 of them probably would be there today. But so far this season, 5-0. He's thrown 30 innings. Has not given up an earned run. Only 2 hits allowed all season long. I think he's walked 5. Struck out 79 of the 96 hitters that he has faced. To say that he's been dominant is a complete and utter understatement.
Yeah, what do we call those stats? Stupid.
Yeah.
I was wondering last night, doing a little prep work, if he was the guy. I'm sure a lot of people are, well, is he going to be the guy or not? Yeah, he's the guy. It's his turn. And
oh, you mean going first?
Going first.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
Yeah. And it's
that's not me guessing. I'm telling you that's happening.
It's
because I know he is.
I wouldn't say once in a lifetime, but maybe once. I mean, you certainly hope you get more guys like this in this program, but you know what? Once every 20 years kind of guy. this guy's awesome. He's special. You hear it. That's the thing that I said this last week. There's one thing, you can watch us. We strongly encourage it if you can. BigElkTV.com. But if you can be there, that's when you notice the difference of, you hear that, just the pop in the glove when he's warming up, when he's pitching during the game. All of the intangibles, all of the mechanics are there. And if you know the game of baseball, you appreciate it so much, and it just excites you. So, encourage you to go out there and check him out. If you can't, we got you covered. At least we'll have that backstop mic'd up the best to our ability. Maybe you can hear a little bit of that pop. He's a special specimen to watch. He is so cool on the mound, and what impresses me about him is his batting too. He's one of the best batters on the team. He's just an all-around athlete. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, 486. I think he had 487 so far this season. Like 23 extra base hits, maybe 10 doubles and 11 triples, 2 home runs. Yeah, knocked in a bunch of runs. So on the other side, Max Bushyhead, catcher, maybe the third baseman at times, depending on what's going on for Mannford. He's an OU guy. So that'll be a fun matchup, right?
Yeah,
to see, somebody that's going to be playing Division I baseball. Well, 2 guys that are committed to sign to play in Division I baseball. When Bushyhead comes up there as the third hitter, he's hit nearly 400. I think 384 is what his average is, with a bunch of extra base hits as well. So that'll be a fun mano-a-mano kind of matchup there with those 2 guys in that game 1. And of course, if somebody wins both today, they are on to the 4A state baseball tournament next week. If they split, we'll be back over there tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the if necessary game. There's actually a bunch of those today. I'll kind of run down the results from yesterday. A bunch of these things got started yesterday, and a couple of them are over. We actually know whoever wins this area out here, we know who that opponent will be next week. The 6-seeded Chickasha Fighting Chicks are into the 4A state baseball tournament. They defeated Bethany twice yesterday, 6-1 and 9-8. So 6-seed Chickasha is into the state tournament, as is number 1 seeded Tuttle. Tuttle had 0 problem with Broken Bow yesterday, identical 14-0 run rules. So Tuttle, the defending champs, are back to the 4A state tournament with a couple wins against Broken Bow. Then 3 other areas that I could find got started yesterday, and they all split. Cushing beat Stigler 4-3, then Stigler beat Cushing 17-14. So those 2 have an if game today. Hilldale beat Salisaw 13-2, then Salisaw beat Hilldale 14-8. So those 2 will also have an if necessary game today. And then a little bit of a shocker in game 1 of this 3-game series yesterday. 4th-seeded Marlow was taken down in game 1 by 13th-seeded North Rock Creek, 7-1. Marlow turned around and won the second game 8-4. So those 2 will play again today in an if necessary game to get to the state tournament. So that's kind of an idea. The Big Elks haven't started. Blanchard hadn't started. And then, gosh, is it Newcastle maybe that I couldn't find results for, which means that probably today and tomorrow for those. So that's kind of an idea of what's going on. Micro and macro view of everything in 4A baseball leading into next week's state tournament. Let's see. Slow pitch. Man, slow pitch softball yesterday. A couple of those teams from last year's state finals made it into the semifinals. Canute Trojanettes. You know who I bet is sick and tired of seeing that CT logo on people's hats? Waukomis. That's exactly right.
Especially those seniors.
Yeah, good and well they're tired of that. As Canute beat Waukomis, basketball twice in the playoffs.
No.
Waukomis beat them the first game, and then they knocked them out.
Yeah, they played 3 times, actually. They met in the championship game up in the Moreland Holiday Classic, and Canute got the best of them there. Waukomis beat them, was in overtime. Close game.
First round of regionals, maybe?
Yeah, in Arapahoe, and then Canute avenged it and knocked them out in the area. And then that happened yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Me and my Canute dads were joking, man, those Waukomis girls might want to come over. They're probably going to come over here and cause some trouble. They're probably pretty mad, sick of those Trojan heads.
Egg houses and stuff
like that, man.
Yeah, Canute beat Waukomis 6-5, and then in the semifinal, also in the first round, Cyril knocked off Arapahoe Butler 13-8. So that Canute Arapahoe matchup didn't happen. Cyril beat Canute 3-1 to get to the finals. On the other side of the bracket, Shattuck was dominant until they weren't. They beat Sterling 13-1. Semifinals, they beat Rock Creek 15-5. But Cyril Lady Pirates, what I've seen is the first ever slow pitch state title for Cyril as they knocked off Shattuck in the finals 12-9. So congratulations to Cyril. Good showing, obviously, by a bunch of teams out here in Class 2A.
Yeah, you get that top 4 range. That's pretty good. Just getting that, and they should be proud of that. Be real, sucks that your season loses, but to get the state tournament and top 4, pretty good. Real good.
Then on down to Class A. I mean, what a fun game this must have been to watch. Stewart, 24. Hammond, 22.
Yeah. I saw a lot of Facebook banter about that one.
Absolute slugfests. And unfortunately, the Lady Warriors on the wrong end of that one. Also, Navajo made it in the state tournament. They were defeated by Red Oak 15-1. Bingeroni was it's interesting, in 2A, A, and B, none of the top seeds won the tournament. Shattuck was the top seed at 2A. They didn't win. Bingeroni was the top seed in Class A. They were beaten 12-2 in the finals by Turner. Hey, have a week, Turner. Dominated the 2A golf tournament and then win Class A slow pitch 12-2 over Bingeroni. Then down into Class B, you had Lakiba Sickles in the first round upsetting number 1 seed Mountain View Gotebo 3-2. Leedy just dominated Chattanooga 14-1. Then in the semifinals, Leedy was down 1 in the top of the 7th, got 2 home runs to take an 8-7 lead, but then Caney came back and was able to tally 2 in the bottom half of the 7th inning to beat the Leedy Lady Bison 9-8. Lakiba Sickles continued on into the finals with a 5-2 win over Tupelo, but in the end it was Caney 4, Lakiba Sickles 3 in the Class B slow pitch state title game. Lakiba Sickles, they've had a really nice run here in girls sports after the Christmas break with the runner-up in basketball and now a runner-up in slow pitch softball. So congrats to the Lady Panthers. But yeah, it's interesting that none of the top seeds, at least in the bottom 3 classes, none of the top seeds were able to take home the trophy.
That's why you play, right? In slow pitch softball, I'm still grasping it because I feel like you can go out there and anyone can have a good day. If you're not able to tack some runs on early, then you're playing catch up the entire time or not unable to have enough defensive stops. But we almost saw an upset last week when Canute took Shattuck down to the wire, and everyone considered they're number 1, like you said, the number 1 seed. And you just sometimes the ball don't lie, or sometimes the ball just does funny things. So, but that was interesting. But there has been consistency. Like I mentioned just Shattuck, there's been a lot of consistency in softball, slow pitch and fast pitch, and they've kind of been right there at the top all the time. But I always say that's why you play the game. You just can't assume that someone's a favorite.
It's just, you wouldn't think. You think you'd see so many more scores 24-22 than you would 3-2. But when you look through there, you really don't.
No, yeah, that's the
it's
thing
a pretty
too,
decent mix.
Yeah, and I know there was a delay, but when I was watching, there's a lot of sunshine. It looked like it was a really pretty day, so there wasn't any of that going on. Like the weather having a problem with this. And I don't know if it was windy or not.
Oh, it was windy here. And I wonder if there's so many fields up there at the complex at Hall of Fame Stadium that if one field might be blowing out where the other field's blowing in, and that,
True.
You get Hammond 24-22 at the same time you get somebody else 3-1, just depending on which field they were at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the wind conditions may kind of mess with the scores depending on, like I said, which way the hitters are aimed or which way the pitchers are going. So, but a good day for Western Oklahoma. Not quite last year as far as getting those 3 teams into the finals, but still. Every time you make it to the state tournament, you never know. Give yourself that chance on that day. Today, we have some baseball state tournaments going on. First off, in Shawnee, it'll be the Class A. Class A will be in Shawnee all week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Class B starts in Moore for Thursday and Friday, joins in Shawnee for the finals on Saturday. So today in Class A, former Big Elk, Matt Yost, and his team, his Okarche Warriors, get the day started in Class A at 11 o'clock. That's the 4-5 game against Wright City. Canute follows the 8th-seeded Trojans against the top seed Tushka. That's scheduled to be a 1:30 start. And then the last game of the day in Class A over in Shawnee is the 2-7 matchup, Dewar against the 7th seed Arapahoe Butler. So you could possibly see a Canute Okarche If both of those teams are able to win, AB is down there on the bottom of the bracket. They wouldn't play each other unless they get to the finals. So it gives you an idea there. I know Canute's been really good. Went to Caddo as the 9th seed, upset Caddo last week, according to the rankings, as far as that goes in the regional tournament. Got Lane Gredeman back on the mound, and then Jake Butler's been really good.
He's been great, and I would hope, I just assume he's the guy who's going to give it a go today. And that is their best shot. If they get their bats going, that's their best shot of upsetting number one here. And I just said it. You got to play the game. So, and I know Canute's going in, just from the feeling I get, they're going in with a lot of confidence with how they performed in that regional last week.
And for good reason. Going down there on the road and being able to get those wins and what you'd assume is a decently hostile environment.
Well, anywhere on the road.
Anywhere it is. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so they've I think the basketball season and maybe even the last few weeks to month of the basketball season has really turned the sophomore class that has been so good into what they are now. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It's like you could see them. You even said it a couple times in basketball. You can almost see them growing up before your eyes, and I think that's absolutely bled over into what this baseball season has been. Question about the state tournament: is it double elimination? No, single. It's just you lose, you got to go home in the state tournaments.
My wife always asks me that because we play a lot of softball tournaments and it's a marathon of games. So she's always asking when the softball gets to the state tournament. And she's like, so are they going to be there? Okay, they lost. So what's the loser's bracket look like? Like, there is none, hon. It's like the 5th year I've told you this.
We got some we got a little inside intel, which I'm sure you do have as well. But what I'm getting is that Jake is the guy on the mound today.
No one had to tell me that. I think that was a given.
Even though he wasn't last week. Because Gredeman threw the first game. But listen, you also had that extra, you know what I'm saying? You had the double elimination idea, and it's a little bit different sometimes.
Now it's
best guy go.
I always remember their 2020 run in the fall where there was a question of Henderson. Was he going to pitch the first round, or was then Gillette going to hold him for possible finals? And I think it was him who texted me directly, or you or somebody. He said, best available. Yeah. And I love that. I never thought of it like that. It makes total sense. You got to give yourself a shot. You don't want to say what if. So if he's available, if your best is available, throw him.
Yeah, especially in that single elimination. Is it double elimination fall? No, there's no. Once you get to state, it's all single. It's all single.
Yeah.
Let's see. Slow pitch. And then golf. The 4A boys regional golf tournament here yesterday at Elk City Golf and Country Club. It was like throughout the day they went through all the different seasons or all the different weather conditions.
Yeah.
It was raining when I got there. It was chilly with the wind blowing. It was chilly. The wind was blowing big time. Then the sun came out and it got pretty warm. Kind of maybe even after it was over, toward the end. When the dust settled, Crossings Christian was the team champ. They shot .307. Elk City's second, so the Big Elks are headed to state. Top 3 teams in each regional advance, so .307 for Crossings winning it, .311 for the Big Elks. Individually, Braden Duncan actually tied for medalist honors with Jackson Magnus from Crossings Christian and then also Brock German from Chickasha. All 3 of those guys shot 1 over 72s, which in my mind was a pretty good round considering what the conditions were like. Blake Red, the 5th bag, played an absolutely he's probably the reason the Elks are going to state, honestly, with the 77, 8th place finish from your 5 guy. That's awesome. When the Big Elks needed him the most, Blake was right there. It doesn't surprise me at all watching him compete in basketball and in football for all these years. No surprise to me that when they really needed somebody to play well, Blake Red stepped up to the plate. Kayston Ferris ended up 14th overall with a 79. Tristan Dunn with an 83. He was the 22nd. And then Keaton Twyman, he shot 89. I mean, listen, that's your score. In golf, whatever you write down at the end is what you shoot. But I'm telling you, he played 13 holes way better than that. He was just a couple over with 5 to go, and then the wheels basically fell off the car, and he leaked oil all the way in. But that 89 is not indicative to the way he played throughout most of the day, but that's the way golf goes. You got to get her into the clubhouse and he unfortunately wasn't able to do that. Then Clinton, 5th, so their team is not going to make it to the state tournament. Red Tornadoes shot 326. They do have an individual. Scout Acosta finished 6th overall, shot a 76 yesterday. He qualifies as an individual, go to the state tournament. Other finisher, Sutton Hernandez with a 78. He just missed out on a chance to be an individual qualifier. Landon Kunzman shot 82, and then Caber Johnson and Cy Foster both with 90s. So the Red Tornadoes, Scout Acosta is heading on to the state tournament. And finally, of what I know up at the 2A regional, Merritt didn't go as a team, but they had a couple of individuals, and one of those is headed to state. Trace Touchstone shot at 87 at Boiling Springs yesterday. He is headed to the 2A state tournament. Jake Chenault, pretty good for a freshman that doesn't really play much golf. He shot 94, so that's a really that's pretty good. And I was getting some pictures of his swing last night via text. Try to figure out what was wrong with him. I just said he swings too much like you, Possum. That's all I can tell you.
Wow.
When did they stop doing 2 rounds at regionals? This is the first year. Question on the text line.
I was wondering that myself.
This is the first. This is the first year that's happened.
Yeah, I was wondering
changing that to an 18-hole regional tournament. It still is 54 holes at state.
Right.
I had heard that it was just 36, but it is 54 holes. So 36 on Monday, 18 on Tuesday. Of course, we'll have, I think Sean's going up to Shangri-La. Tough gig, isn't it?
Oh, it's just tough being Sean, right?
Tough gig going over to Shangri-La for that. No, he's going to be there Monday and Tuesday with reports throughout the day from that 4A Boys State Tournament on the golf course.
Just Sean?
Just Sean.
Yeah, tough gig. Is he staying there?
I don't know. No, he's not. He's staying in Grove.
I don't imagine there's any rooms left.
No, there wasn't. I heard our coaches calling about that. We'll be back.
Pack the sandwiches.
You know, if you can't make it to Ackley Park today for the baseball game, but you got a little time for lunch, you know what I'd do? I'd see if they wouldn't put on Big Elk TV down at the Boomtown Grill.
That's right.
Because you know what today is, Jared? It's Thursday.
Yes.
That means 50-cent boneless wing Thursday. Is there a better deal in America? No. This is as good as it gets. 50-cent boneless wings down at Boomtown today. They've got all kinds of different flavors. Mild, chipotle, sriracha, garlic parmesan, mango habanero, hot barbecue, kickin' bourbon, and sweet red chili. If it were me, I would lead you toward the mango habanero. It was my favorite, but to each their own. That's why there are so many different choices down at the Boomtown Grill. Now, if you're talking to Compton, he would tell you hot barbecue. If you're talking to a bunch of other people, sweet red chili. I normally don't mind garlic parmesan as well. Sweet red chili.
That's a good one.
Oh, heavens.
Wish we could say that.
Coming on the center stage is sweet red chili.
Come on, get your dollars out. It's time for sweet red chili.
Sweet red chili. Coming down toward the pole to pour some sugar on me. Anyhow, Boomtown Grill, 50-cent chicken wing days today. They're open 7 days a week. 11 to 10 on Sunday through Thursday, 11 to 11 on Friday and Saturday. Of course, happy hour 2 to 6, so I wouldn't put these two things together, but you know what I'm saying. 2 to 6, you'd be watching something on the TV there. 11 beers on tap, 30 bottles and cans available as well at the Boomtown Grill. Good stuff there. Their man Darryl Kelly and the Boomtown Grill. All right, last night, the Mavericks, the Dallas Mavs, take a 3-2 lead with a road win at L.A. against the Clippers. Luka Doncic was awesome with 35.
There he is.
And shot a good percentage. We talked about it yesterday. Eventually, Luka's going to play well and shoot it well, and he was. 14 of 26, 5 of 5 at the line, had 10 assists, 7 rebounds. He really kind of propelled the Mavs to the win. They won every quarter yesterday in that game 3, won the second half by 20, outscoring the Clips 67-27 in a 123-93 30-point win for Dallas. They move 1 game away from being the Oklahoma City Thunder's opponents, and they'll have a chance to do that tomorrow night down at home in Dallas instead of having to try to close it out on the road.
Clippers just looked discombobulated all night, didn't they? They didn't really look like they were all there. But we were waiting for that game from Luka. He was good. He was real good. I'm not counting the Clippers out, though, everything I just said. I'm certainly hoping for a Game 7 for all the advantages that would probably give the Thunder with rest and everything. But, yeah, I thought the Clippers would get that game last night being at home. But, yeah, we're waiting for that Luka guy to arrive. He showed up.
Yeah, and that's just the scary part about the Mavs being the opponent for the Thunder is the ability of not only Luka but also Kyrie of just flat out taking a game over. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't necessarily have to be the same game. And so, you start to look around, you're thinking, man, Kyrie has 2 games, Luka has 2 games, that's 4 out of 7. That's where the trepidation would lie if you're a Thunder fan, worrying about the matchup with the Dallas Mavericks. Mm-hmm. It's just those 2 guys' ability, and they've proven it in the playoffs. Unlike some of these Clippers guys, they have proven in the playoffs to be able to handle the brightest of lights, with Luka taking a team with nobody on it to the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago. And, of course, everybody knows Kyrie hit one of the most famous shots in finals history in that Game 7 on the road at Golden State to close out the Cavs 3-1 comeback in 2016. So that's clearly like the Clips have 3 or 4 Hall of Famers on their team, but they don't necessarily have the Hall of Famers that have proven it like these 2 guys have in Dallas. So it looks like, we talked about it yesterday, over an 80% chance that whoever won that series or whoever won that game last night is going to win the series, going up 3-2 after it tied 2-2. Now Dallas gets that first crack at it on their home floor in Game 6 to be the Thunder's opponent. We got to talk about our poor man Russ. After a 5 of 8 in Game 1 and really made a difference in that 109-97 win for the Clippers, he has been putrid. 2 of 9 in Game 2. He was 0 of 7 in Game 3, so that's 2 for 16. Game 2, Game 3, 2 for 16. Game 4, what was he in Game 4? I'm pulling it up. And then last night, 2 of 11. So let's see, 16 and 11. It's 27. So 4 of 27, and that goes to 2 of 8. So 6 of 35 from the field in the last 4 games for one Russell Westbrook. And especially without Kawhi Leonard out there, this is a time where Russ is more needed than we thought he ever would be on this Clippers team. In a fully healthy Clippers team, he's not nearly as important of a piece, but without Kawhi, providing the scoring punch off the bench becomes paramount, and Westbrook has been terrible. Absolutely terrible after Game 1 of this series.
And that's why we want the Clippers, right?
Yeah, the idea
probably a good thing for all the Russ apologists and Russ lovers out there that Jim is not on.
Well, I'm afraid Jim might be back today.
Oh boy.
There's a chance he might be back today.
Yeah.
And if he is, there's a very good chance this will be the first topic he talks about. And he and Sam are going to have a fight. I can already feel it.
Yep.
2:00 today. I'll tell you what you can do. You can put the Big Elk TV on the screen and listen to that fight for about the first 20 minutes of Jim's show if he is back today. But listen, last night it wasn't just Russell Westbrook's problem. Paul George and James Harden combined 6 of 25. As good or bad as Russell could be, he can't be good enough to overcome Paul George and James Harden shooting 6 out of 25, and the Clippers have any chance of winning the series, or winning a game basically in the series without Kawhi. They were 3 of 13 from 3, combined for 22 points on 25 shots. That ain't ever going to get her done against the Mavericks team that is this good.
Not at all. Not at all. Looks like, it looks like tide's turning in this series. It feels like it's everything that you said. The thing about the Dallas, though, is the matching up with the Thunder, and we'll Well, will we have time to break that down? Not really.
No, I think
Probably dive into it tomorrow as we have more time. But just off the top of my head, you talk about the Kyrie thing. The second the last time they played him, Luka did not play. It was Kyrie's show, and he started to go off. But Thunder were already well enough ahead to hold on to that barrage. That's one of the keys. I mean, the Thunder have to start very, very strong. Because if it's close and then one of those guys takes it over. But fortunately, the Thunder have other guys that could counter that with SGA, J-Dub, maybe even Chet at times. Hell, even Giddey if he can get hot. So the matchup will be extremely interesting between the Thunder and Mavs.
Now you got to wonder who Dagnall would put on each of those guys. Would you want, Dub's size against Luka, and maybe Dort trying to hang around with Kyrie? Would you rather Dort's strength against Luka? Of course, it's not like Jalen Williams isn't strong either, and then and SGA is a better defender than anybody gives him credit for as well. So defensively, I think the Thunder, they match up pretty well with Dallas in a playoff type atmosphere. Now, the regular season games, throw them out the window. We've already seen that. The style of play is different. The pace of the game is different. And in a weird way, no matter who the opponent is, maybe outside of, say, Minnesota or even Denver to a lesser extent, I do think that the style of play, the pace of play being slower in the playoffs negates the Thunder's rebounding disadvantage just a little bit. And the reason I say that is because there's not as many shots. So there's not quite the opportunity to get absolutely annihilated on the offensive glass like there is in the regular season, where you could lose the rebounding battle. I think it's going to be exceptionally difficult for anybody to lose the rebounding battle by like 20, like we see every now and again, or even a little bit more consistently throughout the regular season for the Thunder than what we're used to. But I think it's a fascinating matchup, and especially now, the Russ angle was cool just because he'd be coming back. But I think moving forward, if you're looking at one of those rivalries that might sustain itself, I think this one's a lot more likely than Thunder Clippers.
Yeah.
And plus, then you've got that Dallas sense of superiority as a city over Oklahoma City. Like I think you view Oklahoma City as their little brother to the north. The Oklahoma-Texas thing. There's just lots of different fun stuff going on there that's available if the Dallas Mavericks are indeed able to hold off the Clips. So we'll probably – obviously, they'll play Friday. I wonder if they would start Monday, if they'd go ahead and push it up to a Sunday start. We'd have to see. That's to be determined. Celtics were awesome last night, closing out the Heat 4-1. When they're focused, and Jason Tatum even mentioned this last night in the postgame, he said they were super happy to get Miami this year in the first round, as opposed to last year they got the Hawks. And he said we kind of just floated through. But he said with that opponent, we respect that franchise and that team enough to where we knew we had to be absolutely locked in from the word go. And there were lulls throughout certain games where maybe they weren't, but as a whole, they did what they – it took 23 threes in Game 2 for Miami to steal a game in Boston. But after that, the Celtics just slammed the door right in their face with the last three.
Well, you talk about that culture that Miami has, and that's sometimes, I guess, in this case, maybe like just what Tatum said, worked against him, where it got the opponent's attention. Like they got their respect, and we better be ready, as opposed to an upstart Atlanta team that they thought they would have no problem with. That's part of it. What was impressive too was Boston doing this without Porzingis, because there's some talk going into this game yesterday that's detrimental if he's going to be out, or if he is out. He's out for a number of games. What's that going to – I mean, it looks like they're fine without him.
Yeah, but I think title-wise –
like from the grand scheme of things,
they need him. He just – man, he unlocks so much more.
But you got to feel good if you're Boston, how they won that so dominantly.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Just regardless of whoever the opponent was, just how they handled their business without him.
As a mature playoff season team not to do.
Right.
They did exactly what they ought to do. I wonder, there's been some struggles down the stretch of playoff games in the Tatum-Brown era by both of those guys. Then you see Derek White in Game 4 went off for like 39. Does that give them an extra option that they trust and not have to just be so reliant on one of those two guys getting their own shot? Can they actually kind of run a little bit of offense, or plays, design things to get somebody else and be okay if Derek White's the one that ends up with the ball in his hands taking the biggest shot of the game, of the season, what have you. I wonder if it starts to help that out with his emergence there in the Celtics lineup. But the one thing I would be a little concerned with if I was Boston is with Porzingis, depending on his time frame of being out. We've seen in the latter stages of his career, Al Horford isn't a 30-ish minute a game guy anymore.
No.
And it starts to wear him down as we move through the playoffs. He's going to be forced to kind of have to be that guy until Porzingis gets back. And I think that takes his effectiveness down a couple of notches, especially if the games are close in crunch time. If he's out there on the floor after playing all those minutes, and as the games tick by in the series or tick by through the run, how much of a toll will that take on Al Horford and his body at the advanced stage that he is? And just, he's really good for 20 minutes. You start getting him up there, making him play 30 for 6 games in a row, and all of a sudden we might see some of that tread that's off the tires of Al Horford.
Yeah.
All right, tonight, 2 Game 6s in the Eastern Conference. Philly at home against the Knicks. I've already seen it. Game 4 in Philadelphia sounded like the Garden Light. There were so many Knicks fans there. You couldn't tell that it was a Philly home game. I've already seen that
Did they not do the thing where they only sell to Pennsylvania residents?
Well, the Sixers owners have already bought back Game 6 tickets from Knicks fans. And I'm sure they paid a hefty price for that.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the story on ESPN's website today, that the ownership group of the Sixers has bought tickets back for their own fans to fill the building tonight in Philly in a must-win Game 6.
I wonder if that even helps the thing I just mentioned. I know Oklahoma City Thunder do it, especially if the opponent is, say, going to be Dallas, where they say, okay, you go online, they ask you to put your zip in, so I can't sell to you because it looks like you're out of North Texas.
I don't know how, like maybe through the ticket, like the Oklahoma City ticket office or what have you.
Yeah, but when you go to SeatGeek or
that's right, StubHub or any of that,
you're
on your
whatever.
own.
But I wonder how much that actually helps.
It's crazy that they went in there and bought tickets back, but they have. So we'll see if the Sixers actually have a home court advantage in a must-win Game 6. They were able to get Game 5 on the road. Tyrese Maxey was just awesome. 7 points in the last 17 seconds. And then
with a walk.
Yeah, and then Indiana and Milwaukee. The Bucks, to me, out of nowhere, won Game 5. I thought they were dead and buried with no Dame, no Giannis, and now here they are on the road in Indiana, a young Pacers team. You wonder if they kind of took Game 5 for granted, but now tonight in Game 6, I would be almost wake up with my head sewn to the carpet shocked if in the morning we're here talking about a Game 7 in that series.
You think the Bucks are going to?
No, I think the Bucks are losing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, I would be shocked if they won this game.
I misunderstood.
Yeah.
No, me too. They're 8.5-point favorites. Pacers are. That'd be pretty shocking. But I'm rooting for it. I love Game 7. So.
Yeah, I'm totally rooting for Philly. Just to have a Game 7 in the Garden.
Oh, of course.
Totally rooting for Philly.
Of course.
Give me 7 games in Madison Square, 7th game in Madison Square Garden between Philadelphia and New York. I think that would be outstanding.
Yeah.
Hanging out here on a Thursday. Don't forget, Big Elk Baseball, Big Elk TV this afternoon, 1 o'clock and 3:30. Big Elk's best 2 out of 3 series in the area tournament / super regionals against Mannford. It's amazing, Jared. I expect the question from, what I would consider people that are baseball fans, quote unquote. It is shocking how many people that I didn't even know had any idea baseball existed have either texted me or asked me, hey, is Cash throwing that first game today? Is he the 1 o'clock guy? I'm like, yeah, I think so. Pretty sure, and I know so now, would be on any shadow of a doubt. But yeah, it's one of those things. That's how, like you said earlier, once every 20, once every 50. I mean, who knows how generational type talent that he is. But that's how I start to realize just how special it is when people that are completely separated from anything Big Elk baseball start to know about what he is and who he is, and you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's where it's like, holy cow. Just got sent this, maybe a mock draft, having him at the 35th pick to Arizona. Like I said, I'd seen 27th to Philly this week.
If you're Cash and his family, are you looking for a place like that you're really rooting for because of the farm system? Because the farm system's really, really good. And Houston's one of them. I reluctantly say that. But you just see this. You always see those farm system ratings. Mm-hmm. And it might not reflect what the current team
MLB team looks like.
Yeah, but you always hear, hey, listen, these, Baltimore is a great example.
I was about to say, like 3 or 4 years ago, you might have been going, man, look at what Baltimore's, but you look at what they've drafted. Look at how these guys are performing.
Yeah.
I
don't know what those farm systems are without looking. I just wondered. I would love the insight of knowing that. Like, okay, this is where we want to be, because that's where it ultimately just makes you decide. Listen, if he's a first-round guy, right?
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
But from what point do you go, man, do you try to lobby like, man, I'd really like to be around here so I could fall to this or be up into this area to go to this farm system?
You know who seems like
the process will put me in the show. You
know who it seems like is on that track right now? And especially with guys on the mound, so maybe they feel like they've got enough. Detroit,
really?
Detroit. Jackson Jobe.
Right, yeah, he's there.
And he's not the only arm that's coming up through there. That just things I was thinking, I've been reading or noticing or thinking about. But I think you always look for, to me,
it's like everybody wants to be drafted by the Yankees.
But think about like the Rays. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be drafted by the Rays?
They're always
got their own guys that they build up to get into the big leagues and they perform. Now sometimes they go away once they're there, but doesn't it seem like the Rays they're always good? And it's because they're growing their own guys.
Right. What's one? I mean, you think of all your favorite minor league teams, the famous ones and whatever. What's one that'd be really cool to see somebody that play for? I mean, there's one in my mind.
What do you mean?
Well, like coming through the farm system, through the minor leagues. It'd be really cool if the Dodgers picked him up and we can go right down the road and watch him eventually, cool. We would hope. Mm-hmm. But what are some others? I'd say the Durham Bulls.
Just because of the movie.
Yeah.
There's
fun minor league like names too.
Yeah, there's just simply because of MJ. Like if he was a White Sox, then you get to go through Birmingham.
Yeah.
Like Michael, MJ rides the bus. That's a pretty good 30 for 30. If you hadn't seen that one. Now, anything close. I mean, does Albuquerque still have a team?
The Isotopes, yes.
That's kind of a cool
That
name.
Is, I
used
believe,
to be LA.
I believe it's Arizona.
Is Arizona now? It seemed like they used to be a Dodgers.
Man, if you could spell Albuquerque off the top of your head.
ALBEQUERQUE.
It finished it for me. Let's see here. It's they are a AAA affiliate of the Rockies.
The Rockies.
The Rockies.
Yeah, that stuff always floats around too. Like the team stays, but
what is Amarillo? Mud Dog? No, Sod Poodles.
Yes,
they're a AA, I believe.
Yeah, they're AA. I'm almost positive that's right.
They are affiliated with. No, they're affiliated with the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a pretty cool scene if you've never been to Amarillo on a game day.
Well, that stadium's pretty new.
Yeah, it's right downtown. It's right there, or what I would consider, whatever. But there's a bunch of cool restaurants around there.
Amarillo's a hidden gem. There's some good places to eat, and it's a fun little town.
Yeah, there's been
fun little big town.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Anyways.
Do we care about the portal? Can we just talk about that? If we got to figure out how to say his name.
Let's talk about the results tomorrow. Of what and
demonic? What if his name is?
Please don't be demonic.
What if his name is Demonic Williams?
Well, that's very marketable, I guess.
Obviously,
you can see his logo right now.
Speaking of logos, has there ever been a worse logo change than what Tiger has gone from with the Nike swoosh to whatever the hell that is?
Looks like it should be
Sunday red.
It looks like if there was still a Kmart around, it looks like it should be hanging in Kmart.
It looks like he's wearing Slazenger clothes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Horrible. And oh, by the way, pricey.
Is his man? That's sad to say. Is his brand that strong still here in his career that people will still pay that?
If his clothes aren't terrible, yeah. I just don't know.
No, here's the deal.
If
he's winning, if he's playing at a high level,
he just has to be playing, man.
Yeah,
and maybe not even playing. He's still Tiger, but yeah, not a big fan. It just looks. Maybe it's just we've gotten so accustomed to that swoosh on his, chest or just hat
and his collarless red shirt.
Yeah, everything. Anything else is going to look super weird. That was debuted yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
The Sunday Red from Tyga.
All right. Sod poodles.
Yeah. It's a cool scene, I'm telling you. We just happened to be, I don't even know what we were doing.
Minor League Baseball is so cool.
I can't even remember why we were in Amarillo the night of a game. But anyway, we were. Went down.
Did you go to the game?
No.
You didn't go?
I had no idea they were playing, but there was a pretty good pregame scene. And then just walked right across the street to the stadium.
Yeah, I know OU and Texas Tech met there a couple times. I don't know if it was a non-conference game, or if it was a part of the series.
Oh, yeah, that's right. At one point there was actually... Anyway, we won't go there.
I like to go there.
Yeah.
Like to the Big Texan and then go see a game.
You think you could eat the steak?
Look at me. You think I could eat that?
I don't know. Listen, a lot of times the people that eat it aren't the big fat ones like me.
That's
it's the little
true.
skinny ones like you.
That is true. No, I could not.
I've seen a woman. I can't remember her name. She's in all those eating contests. I have seen a woman take down 2 of those steaks in one sitting.
She just grabs.
She looks like it looks like Planet Earth with David Attenborough needs to be as the hungry hyena rips through the flesh of the meat and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I mean she devours it.
They have a really good flight of beers, like different, like they bring out on the wood plank.
Oh, here we go. AJ's eating it. Hour and a half, many years ago.
Wow.
They brew their own, don't they?
And
don't they brew a few
legend
of their own
has
beers?
it he's still digesting it. Yeah, they do.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, they do brew their own brew there.
Very good.
You're driving through Amarillo, it's a must, especially if you have kids. Kids love that old
Kids do.
atmosphere and everything. It's really fun.
Yes, they do. All right.
Very Texas.
1 o'clock, Big Elk and Mannford. Almost at Big Elk Stadium. It's Ackley Park. Big Elks and Mannford area baseball tournament. Big Elk TV, if you can't make it, 1 o'clock. Everybody have a great Thursday.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered to right. Well